Restorative's just a lot of stillness, especially today's practice. Sometimes I'll teach with some movement if I feel some stirring, but I feel like today stillness sounds really nice. It's kind of overcast for anyone who's not in Fort Wayne, Indiana, watching. So it just, nature's also kind of giving us that cue of like, let's just chill today. So props that you need. I've got my little crochet blanket and one of my yoga blankets. I've laid a blanket down for me to practice on. I would just give yourself a place that's cushy. I'm in a carpeted room right now, so this is nice and soft. I have hardwood downstairs in our living room, and that would not be very comfortable. So make sure you have something that's got softness and cushion for you to lie down on. If you have a mat, that's great too. That's fine. I grabbed a throw pillow, and then I have two just regular bed pillows, and I'm near a wall space, so you'll need all of those things to practice with me today. And it's going to be really simple, so don't expect yourself to be perfect at this. This is one of the best practices to just let go of any inhibitions or worries, and the invitation is to just breathe and come home to your own body. So I'm honored to share this with you, and hopefully if this is something that's well received, I would love to continue to do this at least, on Sundays. I feel like it's a good time to regroup. And if we're losing track of time, this is a great way to go. Benchmark of this is the start of another week, because I know I'm losing track of what day it is half the time without having a normal working schedule. So with that, find a comfortable place and grab your pillows. And what we're going to do is begin with, I'm going to have my back to you, just so you can see the layout of how we're going to start. We're going to start with side lying Shavasana. So lying on one side, we're going to have the bottom leg straight. I have my pillows here. I'm not tucking this leg underneath at all. I know it's common that we are told to hug a pillow between your knees. I want to open up our backs. When we squeeze pillows between our knees, we have this tendency to round and collapse and sway our backs. So there's intention here. So bottom leg is going to be straight. I've got my pillows stacked. I've got my little throw pillow here, ready to go for my head. And then I'm taking my top leg and resting it right on top. So side lying, I'm going to turn my head to face you so you can hear me, but we're literally lying on our sides, bottom leg straight, free. I'm moving it around so you can see, and our low backs are open here. The hips are open. So if you needed, you could always tuck your throw pillow as an extra just to open up the low back a little bit more and slide a blanket in. So this is really catering to your own needs. And then we find the breath. So just noticing, how are you breathing today? How does the breath feel in the body? How are you feeling settling? If you feel like your bottom hip is tender, just tuck another blanket underneath. It takes some time to really feel into, what do I need? So I'm just demonstrating. This is all dependent on your body. And then you settle into stillness. So just allow your breath to start to drop down into your belly. Notice if you're scrunching anywhere. Are you scrunching your shoulders? Are you clenching your jaw or your face? Are you looking up to see if you're missing anything? That's a big one for my new restorative yogis, is you're not missing a thing. We are still as can be. And so find your inhale and find your exhale and allow yourself to come home. Come home to your body. You're in it every day, but are you fully present in your body every day? This is an opportunity to go there. And if the mind starts to wander, this is the challenge. Come back to breath. It's not going to be perfect. We're not perfect beings. We are imperfect in our own way, and that's the beautiful part of this, is just exploring the imperfections. We don't have to strive for everything. We don't have to constantly be going. We can be still as well. And so in yogic terms, it's called sattva, a balance, a harmony of action and stillness. And so our effort here is to get into the right posture for you that suits your needs. The action is staying with your breath. And then the stillness is just being here, present with yourself. As you're lying here, I'm going to grab my watch. Let's take a few more rounds of breath. And we're going to keep our bodies just as they are, except we're going to take the top shoulder and we're going to open. So we're coming into a twist. So we're side lying and then we're taking the top arm and opening out. Now, if you feel like pillow under my head is too much, but I might need it under my shoulder, you can prop according to that. So if your back's really tight, this might be a lot. You can also turn your gaze over that top arm that's extending out. You could rest your other hand on your knee if you want to ground that leg on your supports. And again, just closing your eyes, drawing inward. If you fall asleep, you fall asleep. It happens. This happens a lot in restorative, and that's okay. And so we're just in a deepened twist here. Our hip is up off the floor. We're keeping that low spine open as we twist. And it's okay to keep resettling, just noticing if you're resettling because your mind is unsettled or because you need to get into that something's actually pinching. Breath into the belly. And because we're practicing at home, there's a lot of invitations to be very mindful. So I have 2 dogs, a husband and a cat, and most of my animals like to try to creep into my room. They'll scratch at the door or bark or whatever. And those are opportunities to come back to, I need to breathe in and breathe out, rather than fixate on the distraction. Notice if you're holding any tension anywhere. Are you trying to hold your head up? Are you trying to grip your shoulders? This is all, a lot of it, muscle memory. And just Just being mindful of your self-talk as you catch these things. Oh, I should be doing it this way. I'm not doing it right. No, you're just, I am gripping, period. There's no other attachment to it. Possibly starting to shift your breath into your back, any areas, maybe your hip. Just riding the waves of the breath. Softening areas of the body as you exhale. And so these moments of stillness are opportunities for healing, to really be present with anything that stirs up emotionally, physically, but not forcing yourself through it. Healing does not happen with force. Just take a couple more rounds of breath here. And so all we're going to do is take that top leg off the support. Let your bottom leg start to rotate. So my toes are coming up. I need to reset so my hips grounded. And then hug this knee into the chest. So the same knee that was resting on your pillows now is in your chest. Maybe making some circles. Just opening up the hip socket. Maybe half happy baby if you have space to grab the foot. No force. So if you cannot get here, your knee is just as acceptable. It's all a part of you. And then we're going to set your foot down. So same leg we're still working on. Opening the knee out. And here's where it might be important and valuable for having these little throw pillows. So a reclined tree or a half reclined cobblers. If you're having intense pain in the inner thigh muscle or the groin, you could take another pillow and add. I think you're starting to probably see where you have to engineer some stuff for yourself. If you have plenty of mobility, you could go without. You could even straighten the leg out to the side, straight out. But again, being mindful, are you squeezing the hip? Are you trying to flex anywhere? Are you arching your body? Sink into the body. Come home. This is home. It's the vessel we live in every single day, and we need to treat it with kindness and love. Restorative is a beautiful way to do that. So making your adjustments and remembering that because you choose one thing does not mean you are permanently there. Nothing's permanent. You have the power to choose what is best for you. So if you find that I am moving around and you're wanting to move around because I am, go back to you and feel into that space. So I've given you options. And if you're feeling discomfort, Can you stay with it with your breath? The more we fixate on the discomfort itself, the more intensified it becomes. We can draw the breath to the area with love and compassion, with kind words of, it's okay to let go, it's okay to surrender. Extend that leg to meet the other leg. We're going to reach the arms overhead. I've got my blanket stack in the way. Reach through the heels, through the fingertips. And we'll draw both knees in. Side to side. Maybe happy baby. Just exploring what space do you have. No force, gentleness. We need more gentleness. Okay. So we're going to keep a hold of the opposite leg. Rest your leg that we just worked with down. And we're going to turn our pillows over to the other side. So minimal movement, we just have to move our props. Sometimes they get away from you. I'll make some circles. So we're going to work in reverse from the other side. So if you have happy baby. And then we'll set that foot down to the inside and then open your knee out. You can move so you can see what I'm doing. You can open the knee out or straighten the leg unless you're by a wall like I am. Remembering you can take pillows or blankets and prop your knee or your leg if you're extending your leg out. So that reclined tree, one leg straight, one leg open, finding your breath. And it's okay to play around with arm placement as well. Following the inhale and the exhale. So this first part of our practice, we're opening up our root and stability center, our sacrum, our low back, our legs, our roots. And we'll gradually work our way up through the heart. Noticing any gripping here, clenching, clinging. Even in your exhale, if you're breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, are you pursing your lips? Are you clenching your teeth? Can you soften in all aspects of your body? Even the breath, noticing if the rib cage is being held tightly. bring the open leg back up and come across the body to your support. So that bottom leg is straight. I can pick it up. My knee is not tucked underneath. Shoulder open. So we're coming into the twist. And if you need to reset some pieces here, arms can come out to a T. You can gaze over your opposite shoulder. Are you trying to grip anywhere? Do you need to readjust your props? Are you trying to put forth any more effort than is necessary? This is meant to be gentle. Gradually sinking into the twist. Maybe drawing your breath into your low back and your hip. Each breath an invitation for unwinding and healing. Our breath can be very medicinal. Stillness can be very medicinal. And perhaps you're starting to notice this as we've had a few weeks of maybe more stillness, or finding ourselves rushing through trying to do all the things. I know I've had a little bit of both. But we can see it in the earth as well. The skies are clearer. The birds are getting louder or more clear. It's not that they're singing louder, it's just that we have less noise going on. What would happen if there was less noise going on in home, in the body? Your inner voice would get louder. The things that inspire you would get louder and clearer. Take 3 more rounds of breath here. And we're keeping the legs as they are. We're just turning the torso to lie on the side. So if you need to just reset anything, give yourself some extra cushion. I have my arm out. Rest my other arm here. If you're having trouble sleeping at night, I know I've seen a lot of people say that their sleep has changed a little. Part of that might be anxiety. But try this. If you have some extra pillows, have the bottom leg straight. Really bolster yourself. This is very nurturing. So that the body feels open and instead of contracted, which is what stress does. We contract. The breath becomes contracted. So if we can soften and fill the body with breath, mind can start to become a little more still. It's pretty magical. It's the thing that keeps us alive, our breath. Perhaps your breath is getting a little deeper, not necessarily more forced or intense, but filling the torso all the way down into the hips. The more you practice and come back to breath, the more you start to reroute the brain. The nerves in the brain will start to fire into a more focused state. This is how habits and behaviors change. There are neuroscience studies on this. So this takes constant practice and disruption to come back to the breath, come back to a focus. Let's start to migrate away from our cushy props here for a moment. Press the palm, come up to table. Take your time. Don't rush out of any posture. It's not really necessary to rush. We've got all the time in the world right now, right? So all we're going to do is move through some cat-cow. So cow pose, pulling the heart open and rounding the spine into cat, chin toward the chest. Just a slow movement. We've been lying down for quite a bit. We're going to gaze over one shoulder toward your foot. And then gaze over the other shoulder. Like you're wagging your tail. We'll keep alternating side to side. We'll come back to cat-cow, rounding the spine, back to child's pose or puppy. And then pull forward. And then we'll just kind of move through Chakravrikasana. If you need to add figure eights, you can start to make some wiggling motion here just to stir up any stagnation in the hips, the torso. And you can add breath here. Inhale forward, exhale back if you wish. If you need to stretch your soles of your feet out, tuck your toes under as you come back to child's pose. So kind of like a semi-broken toe pose. Make sure you spread your toes out if you are tucking them under. And remember, this is your flavor. Whatever mix you need to have here, just listening to your body, trusting yourself. Pause in child's pose if you feel like you need your pillows here. You can bolster yourself accordingly. If you need to stay higher, you can do this in puppy. You could even take your blankets if you're sitting high. So some options for propping. Let your arms rest. Notice if you're trying to extend, can you keep the elbows soft? Palms open, resting face down. If you need to, even bringing the hands back by the feet. Here's where we can start to bring our breath toward the back side of the body. So we can move our breath anywhere. We can move from our upper chest to our lower belly. We can move our breath to the back side like we do the front. Noticing if you need space, you can take your knees farther out. Each exhale, inviting yourself to surrender. Surrender and trust has been kind of a mantra I've been saying to myself and sharing with my students. And so, you're all my students right now, I'll share that with you. Surrender and trust the process. It can be very scary to do that. And our bodies can grip in that fear. Is that saying that God doesn't give us what we can't handle? And having lived through a lot of stuff, I could attest to that statement. So whatever the universe is throwing at you right now, trust that there can be a deeper lesson here and growth and strength. And in this pose particular, we are surrendering. We're surrendering ourselves right to the earth. While you're here, if there's anything weighing really heavily on your heart, gather it from the heart on the front body. And as you exhale, just imagine it planting straight into the ground. We're in gardening season. Plants need fertilizer, so whatever mucky stuff is being held in your heart space. Just offer it to the earth. And when you breathe in, fill the heart space on the back. This is our guardian, our protector, our shield. So inviting loving kindness to your heart center on the back, and maybe even the sides. Start to press the palms into the earth. We'll slowly roll up. Set those pillows aside. And now this is where we need the wall space. So if you feel like you need a blanket under your hips or your head, you can do that. So legs up the wall, if you've never practiced this, please make sure. I have some art pieces above me, but they're tall and I'm short, so my legs are not going to hit that. But make sure you're not going to knock any of your artwork off the wall. And then we're going to lay on the side and scoot as close to the wall, so my butt's touching the wall right now. And then swing your legs up. If your hips do not touch the wall, don't try to force yourself to do that. Your hamstrings may be really super tight, and so then your hips need to be a little bit farther away from the wall. Arms wherever you want them to be. If you need more space, just fling the arms open. If you need more grounding, hand on heart and belly. And then we can take whatever variation here. Heels wide. You could bring the soles of your feet together with the knees falling into the wall. You could cross the legs like we do sitting on the floor. Classic straight up and down. Pick one that fits you. Play around with it. And then find that settling again. So legs up the wall can be very helpful in pacifying the mind and soothing the nervous system. I highly recommend this before bedtime. If you practice regularly, it might help with sleep as well. Staying with your breath. Remembering if there's any distractions going on around your home, wherever you're practicing, consider it a bell of mindfulness. Thich Nhat Hanh wrote about bells of mindfulness. You can use them for anything around the house. A loud sound, an alarm, a dog barking, a cat scratching at the door, hearing the TV in the other room, hearing the sounds of other people's voices if you are cohabitating right now. you don't have your legs straight, let's go ahead and straighten the legs along the wall. And we're going to take the legs over to one side, all the way to the ground. Legs can be straight here, shoulders resting on the floor. You can always tuck and support your shoulders. Knees could be bent if needed. If you're hypermobile and you need to take the top leg and step it off toward your opposite hand, just being mindful. This is getting our IT band a little deeper into the hip. We're getting our spine stretched out. Allowing the breath to move into the side that is open toward your ceiling, toward the sky. Where are you holding on in the legs and the shoulders? Can you soften? It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Knees can be soft. We'll bring the legs up along the wall. While we're here, let's separate the feet hip distance apart, and we'll make some circles with the feet, getting our circulation going from the feet to the hips to the heart. Changing directions if you haven't done so already. And then we'll take the legs over to the other side. Straight leg, knees bent, maybe stepping your top leg off toward your opposite hand. Shoulders drawing toward the earth, opening the heart toward the sky. Softening your grip. So I keep catching myself wanting to slam my legs into the wall. It's okay, you can soften your legs. It's not, you don't have to hold on here. And scanning the body, where else are you gripping? Surrendering to the twist, allowing the spinal muscles to soften, breath into the side. just being attentive to whatever is waking up in the body. So when we're still, we start to notice things that we may not have noticed when we're moving. And just hold it out in front of you with kind, loving attention. I feel you. And noticing if you're attaching, good or bad, right or wrong. Is it a pleasant feeling or an unpleasant feeling? Is it a sharp pain? Is it a prickly feeling? You feel immense warmth or coolness? Maybe you're starting to sweat. Who knew? Restorative does create a lot of heat in a lot of people's bodies as you start to release. So know that that's just your body's response. And that's all it is. You could be feeling cooler because your nervous system is starting to settle. Start to take the legs back up. And so here is where give yourself some grace with the wall. So if your hips are right up against the wall, remember that you can scoot away from if you need to. So we're going to keep the left leg straight. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. If this is not feasible, just take your foot off and do a figure four. And this is where you would stay. If your foot is off, just stay there. If your ankle is crossed over and you feel like you could do a little bit more, start to slide your stabilizing foot down the wall so it starts to bend your knee and push your top leg toward your heart. So you may not get your foot perfectly planted, you may not get your leg very close. What I want you to be mindful of is, are you coming off the wall? Are you pushing so hard that you're almost in a shoulder stand? Can you keep your hips on the floor and just scoot yourself away, or just keep your leg straighter? What's going to happen is the crossing leg is getting a hip stretch here. And let your breath move into that hip. If you feel any spaces starting to open, just let yourself sink in a little farther without pushing. So your stabilizing foot will just rest on the wall. There's no pushing against the wall. It's just there supported. Everything's supported. Carefully unwind and switch. So again, if you need to just stay in figure four this way with the foot off, just stay there. If you're crossing over, then you can start to work with the foot sliding down the wall, breathing into this hip that's crossed over. Be mindful if you're pushing. Each breath in is inviting vital energy, life-giving force. This is what breath does. It gives us energy. Breathing into the hip. And your breath out is offering up surrender, unwinding, healing, release. Unwind. Both knees to chest. We'll roll to the side. And we're going to come up to grab your pillows. So we're going to place them so the long edge is facing your back. So here's another bonus is you get a nice bed head. You might have a new hairstyle by the end of this. No shame, right? So we're going to have the back to the long edge. And then if you need to cover up, if you want to, you can have your legs crossed, or you could tuck a blanket under your knees for a true mountain brook pose. You don't have to have both of these pillows here. You can do this however you need. So if you feel like the arc is too much, I'm placing a pillow here just to demonstrate. I'm going to add my blanket over my feet. So we're going to lie back. This creates a big curve. So I personally like my head tilted all the way back so it opens up my throat. But if that makes you feel dizzy or nauseous or uncomfortable, support your head so there's less tilt. Actually, that's quite nice. And then arms can be out to a T or goalpost. And remember that you can adjust these layers. So you don't have to create such a lift in the torso. So mountain brook pose, this is a little more exaggerated than what I've practiced or taught. Sometimes we'll use a large bolster, sometimes we use a rolled blanket or towel, which you could do as well in place. So rolling that up and placing it lengthwise across underneath your back. And so here we are, this opportunity to breathe fully, belly to heart, exhale heart to belly, all the way out the soles of the feet. And while we're here, fully open in the heart space, in our solar plexus, our inner sun, let's take a breath in through the nose and a soft face and mouth exhale. Open mouth. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. One more. So if you're feeling any pinching in the low spine, I just felt that for myself. Pick your hips up without moving your shoulders and scoot your tailbone toward your legs, and then you can adjust your legs. And so we're opening our inner sun center, our divine will, that light within ourselves. It's right there. We're opening up the heart, our center of healing, compassion, understanding, empathy. We have our root grounded down and stable. Our center of change, our abdomen is open and flowing. Our throat is open, so we have clear speech. We've got our Space between the eyebrows and the crown of the head, our innate wisdom. Our intuition. Everything open and aligned here. If those cleansing breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth are helpful, continue to practice those until you feel something settle or shift. It may be a mood change, a temperature change. Breath in, expanding the heart open. Breath out, rooting and stabilizing. So we have our roots and we can be open and ready to receive. And as you follow your breath, really tuning inward to your innate wisdom, your inner voice, the inner light and guide. So this week's mantra was inspire. And maybe you haven't been feeling inspired, but who or what inspires you? Mine's nature. I think it's a beautiful time to observe what nature's doing. There's so much life starting to sprout through the earth. And in turn, we as humans are starting to sprout new life as well. Both in birthing babies, I have some friends delivering soon, or right now possibly, to just our own birth, rebirth in a way. Who or what inspires you, and how can you integrate that more into your practice? Whatever that practice is, whether it's cooking or being present, breathing. And then hold on to that thought. And then what innate gifts do you have that might cross over with this inspiration piece? What inspires you? What innate gifts do you have to share that might inspire someone else? And then holding on to these two pieces, listening for an intention that maybe you'd like to set to start your week off. So if an intention is arising out of this, connected to your breath, let it rise all the way up from the root, all the way up into your heart to the crown, filling your body and being. As you exhale, let it really steep within yourself. Begin to deepen your breath, awakening your awareness to your surroundings. Carefully roll to the side. Pillows are squishy, so that's okay. And then we'll journey up to a easy seat. Centering around breath and intention. Going into yourself. Honoring your intention and practice. Honoring the space that you're practicing in for having you. And honoring that which inspires you to inspire others. Namaste.